Welcome to Raider Cop Podcast. I am your host, Al Martinez, also known as Alpha Mike. Today's episode is called 393 million guns owned in the USA. Big title, a lot of guns. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the First Amendment. We're going to talk about the Second Amendment. Because the right to talk about it and the right to own one is a God-given one. So, today's episode is number 359. Boy, we are moving on those episodes. I want to touch some bases on some other issues before we get into the podcast. And mostly, as you know, every once in a while, we're going to dive into law enforcement in America. And I want to take advantage of this opportunity to talk about ICE. And no, it's not Ice Ice Baby. It's our federal government, our federal agents that are out there doing a brave job in arresting, whether they're either criminal element of immigration or you came into the country illegally and you got caught. Doesn't matter. They're both violations of law. Now, I know the left would love to talk about how heartbreaking it is, and the separation of family is always heartbreaking. But unfortunately, law enforcement is not in the social workers' end of the business, and it can't correct and hug those hearts that are heartbroken because the law is paramount and it's tough. But the former president, Brandon Biden, decided to let in millions. And what does that mean? Because you have to translate it into its meaning. You see, it doesn't affect you if you see it on TV and they're crossing the Rio Grande into the United States and you say, well, it has nothing to do with me. I'm behind my white picket fence in Main Street, USA. But it affects us all in resources that we all desperately need. Recently, I've found out that in a lot of areas in the country where there's new development, why the mass amounts of apartments that are filling up? Well, so happens that the government gave it a high priority because if you had 2, 7, 9, 12, 20 million, whatever magical number, and Joe Biden's administration crossed the south portion of the United States into America, they needed a place to stay. They needed housing. And the current housing could not support that. That also goes with just plain use of water, electricity, power, gas. All these things are a big part of mass migration of immigrants. Now, this is not about the immigrants and, before the ugly left starts yelling at me. But this is about law enforcement and ICE and how it's doing its job. Although a very brave job, my hat goes out to them. A lot of new people in the ranks because the job is big. The amount of people that they have to take into custody and deport is huge. I think currently they're up to 500,000 this 1 year, if those numbers are accurate. And we all know millions poured in, and millions were here prior. I remember back in the Clinton administration, they would always tell you there's 11 million undocumented people in America. And then the next clown president would come in and say, there's 11 million undocumented people in America. And then the next one, Obama, and the next one, Biden, and the next one, it was 11 million. The number never changed. But it's a lot more than that. And so those resources are big. The job is big. What I am concerned about is their equipment, techniques in conducting these arrests. Now, I hate to be a Monday morning quarterback, but it appears to me that every time they go to create or conduct an arrest, that a mass amount of protesters show up out of nowhere. The arrest seems like it's taking an eternity. The pushing and shoving matches are astonishing to me. There is no 20 feet barrier like there is in Florida. I don't know why they're not what's called stacking the deck, and these people are interfering with law enforcement conducting their due diligence in their job. Therefore, they're subject to arrest, period, and then the subject. And they seem to be grabbing the suspect they need to grab. It usually takes between 6 and 12 people to do this, one custody arrest. They haul them in a vehicle and they take off like a bat out of hell, regardless whether they leave a fender or a tire behind. And it's disturbing to me because I don't understand why we're not following other protocols, such as paying attention to carrying out the arrest. So I think, and it's easy to Monday morning quarterback, they need better equipment. They need to start conducting arrests with 2 or 3 agents arresting the suspect and the rest containing. I know that their training program most likely includes the support of local law enforcement. But let's take local law enforcement and examine. When they have to go out and do mass arrests like this on protests, sometimes they don't have a backup. They got to do it themselves. Maybe their backup is the state police or the county police or another jurisdiction. But pretty much they're on their own. And it's no easy feat, and I'm not saying it, and I'm not downgrading it. But with all the resources the United States government has, we just plucked Maduro like a turkey out of the grocery store stands. And he's currently in one of our detention centers. And the U.S. military did that in less than 40 minutes. And the world is shocked how it was done. But we can't take a simple immigrant, and some of them are dangerous people, I'm not downgrading it, into custody without making it look like a circus. And I'm not blaming the ICE agents. I'm blaming the management and the consultants of the ICE agents. Where the hell is their equipment? Raggedy-ass vans and, this individual that got shot, she was a pillar of the community with like 3 pages of felony arrest priors. But the big concern was that she would run people over. Well, today law enforcement has equipment that can detain the car and make sure it doesn't move. Where is their equipment? Where is their equipment? Where is they're sending in hundreds of additional agents, but it looks like a circus. Why are not these protesters separated 20 to 30 feet at least from where this arrest is being conducted? I know it's easy to say as a listener, well, dummy, it's because there's no manpower and the local law enforcement won't help. Correct. So we should have an abundance of agents there, not a bare minimum. Are we causing, as management in ICE, are we causing these circus shows? Or are we trying to prevent them in any way? Because a mass number of agents to arrest one person isn't very effective either. But how are these crowds just showing up? These are all paid people. Who the hell's doing the investigation on them? And why is this continuing? It's alarming. It's concerning. And I'm not even going to get started with the commies on the other side that are causing these picketers or rioters to show up to this place to cause trouble. That's intentionally too, and that's another conversation. But I would like to see the federal government get its thumb dislodged from wherever they kept it, and I would like to see ICE with upgraded, superior equipment to conduct these raids and arrests, or whatever you want to call them. I'm tired of seeing a circus pushing match with a bunch of people. It's quite disgusting. All right, episode 359. Today we're going to talk about the 393 million guns in America owned by citizens in this country and why we have so much. And I'm glad we do. I always said Barack Obama and Brandon Biden were one of the best gun salesmen we ever had. Every time they opened up their pie hole, they tell us they were going to take away our guns. Millions of guns were flying off the shelf. All right. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go to our Bibles. We're going to open up our Bibles to Psalms chapter 121. And it says, and I read, I will lift up my eyes to the hills, for whence comes my help? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve you from all evil. He shall preserve your soul. The Lord shall preserve your going out and your coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. forevermore. Those are the promises of the Lord to guide us, protect us, and shield us from evil. And there is a lot of evil in this world. We're seeing it all around the world. These evil regimes are collapsing. And, where are they all going? It is so chaotic out there. And you know what we have to worry about in this country? Our own political party. That's what we have to worry about. That's how bad it is. So we're going to dive into episode 359. We're going to talk about today the importance of having guns in America. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the main event.
All right, well, here we are, episode 395, 393, no, it's 393 million guns. I'm reading the actual title thinking it was the episode. The episode is number 359, and what we are talking about today, well, as of recent estimate, the U.S. Civilians own approximately 393 million guns in America. These firearms, which are about 46% of the global total of civilians held guns. Gun ownership in the United States has been steadily increasing. You think? As every time the Democrats talk about they're going to make sure we don't have a gun, more guns are sold. With significant sales reported in recent years reflecting the deep culture connection to firearms. So there is a culture connected to firearms, and that would be called people that believe in the Second Amendment. The gun ownership in America is, of course, a lot of people believe, and I believe it is a God-given right to protect you and your family. And if that means with a gun, and I can have one because the forefathers of this country wrote it in the Constitution, then I want that for me and my family. From 1994 to 2003, gun ownership increased by 28%. In 2023 alone, there was 16.7 million firearms were sold. So the increase, here's a couple of reasons why so many guns are being sold. It's called the media. The media consistently and without failure are always scaring the pants out of everybody. Everybody that is anybody that watches the news would be frightened from the stuff that they're doing out there. Killings, muggings, and everything else. Our government, and especially our Democratic ones, want to take away our rights. More and more people are buying guns. The primary reason Americans own guns include protection, which is about 72% of gun owners cite personal protection as the main reason for gun ownership. 72%. So remember when Joe Biden would say, buy a shotgun because it's good for hunting? Nobody's hunting, dude. They're buying guns to protect themselves. 72%. Gun factors, gun ownership is deeply rooted in American culture. Every decade, there's more and more Americans that believe in the culture, in the society of the Second Amendment. It's also associated with hunting and sports shooting. But primarily, as I said, 72% of gun owners buying these guns for their own protection. Approximately 32% of U.S. adults own firearms, translated to around 80 million individuals. Gun ownership is more prevalent among men, with about 40 to 45% of men owning guns compared to 19 to 25% of women. Women are the big market. It's growing in droves. And it's good to see. What I would love to see more of, not because I own the business, but I would really like for people to take ownership of their guns by training with them. Just don't go into a gun store and say, oh, that one looks pretty. Let me see it. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll take that one. And that's it. There's not much training going on in America. But I don't want the government to mandate it. I would hope that all these millions of people buying guns would take time to learn how to shoot it properly. The landscape of gun ownership in the United States continues to evolve, reflecting both culture ties and ongoing discussions about gun rights and safety. Safety is paramount, and whenever you take a gun course, you should learn about the facts of gun safety. It's important. Today, more and more people are looking at their guns, and they have a lot of them. SHOT Show just completed the 2026 SHOT Show in Las Vegas, and it's reported that the majority of what a lot of people were witnessing in Las Vegas, reviewers, they were seeing a lot of guns that have more, they've been better engineered. Better barrels, more ducktails, better positioning for the hand, all to mitigate recoil. And the manufacturing process for bullets as well as these guns are becoming better and better. Why? To make you, the shooter, more accurate. Iron sights are almost going to be a thing of the past. I don't agree with it. I think if you do own a gun, you should really know how to shoot iron sights, and then you can go into optics. But people like the optic, they like the James Bond look, and they're going towards it hard and fast. Gun ownership is a God-given right, and it was a right that was given to us by the forefathers of this country. No politician, none, should try to take away your gun and your gun rights. Our job is to be that militia, which is stated in the Constitution. Our job is to be law-abiding citizens with these guns. But don't get it twisted. If at a moment's notice we have to use it, we'll use it. We have to be like Jack. Remember Jack, the security guy at the church? I believe it was, several years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Crazy guy came into a church. Jack capped him from a good distance, about 15 yards away. Boom, right in the head, one shot. Gotta be like Jack. Am I advocating violence? No, I'm advocating protection, self-protection. Don't let them play with word salads. Keep those word salad people in California. I love my fans in California, by the way. Got a lot of fans in California. Oh, God. You know, my parents were born in Cuba, and they came to this country in the early 60s. And I have a debt with this country. I was born here. I was born in New York City. But I have a debt to this country, accepting my parents, that I can never repay. There's not enough money to repay it. But you poor people in California, my gosh. I mean, it's like living in one of these communist countries. And I pray to God that one day, some sanity, actually, beautiful state like California, and everybody is, you know, not everybody, but these politicians are off the rails, and it's a real shame. So, as we wrap up this episode, there are a lot of guns in America, 393 million and counting. It's getting bigger and bigger as the deficit. Why? Self-protection. People have a right to protect themselves, and they're going to do it. They're going to protect themselves and their families. And no effing government should and will get in the way of the Second Amendment. Be bold. Don't be wimpy when you demand your Second Amendment rights, because it's God-given. Up next, episode 360 is the M&P, the new block. Smith & Wesson's M&P. Is that the new block? And we're going to discuss that and much more. If you are looking for gun training in the Tampa Bay area, look no further. You can contact us at Raider Cop TAC, TAC. That's Raider Cop TAC, TAC. We can give you classes on whether you're a beginner, intermediate, advanced, on the evolution that you're looking for, whether it's pistol, revolver, the snubby. We're going to have an episode on the snubby soon. And or shotgun or what else? What did I leave out? Rifle. But whatever you're looking for, we can help you out at RaiderCopTAC.com, RaiderCopTAC.com. You can give us a call at 813-942-7400, or if you want to send us an email, you can do that too at RaiderCopTAC, all one word, small case, RaiderCopTAC, TAC, at proton.me. So send your little nasty gram over there about training. If you want to hear all our episodes, number 1 to number 300, and what number is I'm getting my notes mixed up here with 393 million, and I'm not up that. I don't have that many podcasts. 359. You can hear from episode 1 to 359 at RaiderCop.com. That's RaiderCop.com. There, we've got all the goodies. You can hear all of them from the first one. So we're just building our library. Like I always say, that's what we're doing, building our library. And don't forget our partners. Their information is down on the show notes. If you're looking for gun training in New Jersey, Karis, which has been on our show many, many times, his information is on the bottom of the show notes. His website, SippleVediaInc.com. And remember, New Jersey is doing concealed weapons training. Get on it. Give him a call. His information is down on the bottom of the show notes. Looking for a gunsmith, Pistol Pete the gunsmith. He's the man down in Miami, but I don't live in Miami. Well, don't worry about it. Just give Pete a call. His information is on the bottom of the show notes here. Wherever you picked up this podcast, you can see the show notes, and you'll see his number there. Give him a call and say, Pete, I heard you're on Raider Cop podcast. How do I send you my gun? And you can send it back to me legally. And Pete will explain how that works. And if you're down in the South Florida area and looking for good gun training, AAA Gun Safety of down in South Florida with AAA Gun Safety with Amalo. And his information is also down on the bottom of the show notes. His website is AAAgunsafety.com. As always, continue to pray for yourself, because without you, we have nothing. Continue to pray for your family, for your community, for the law enforcement agencies that serve you, and continue to pray for the United States of America that really needs prayer. Lastly, if you could consider giving to Tunnel to Towers Foundation, I do. I have been doing it for many, many years. I give $11 a month, which is nothing, to make sure that they're helping those families of law enforcement, military, firefighters that gave the ultimate price in helping their families out. Tunnels to Tower, 2t2.org. And also, consider becoming a member of Gun Owners of America. Why? They are advocating for your rights in Washington, D.C., better known as the Swamp, each and every day. I'll see you soon downrange.
The Raider Cop Nation.